Welcome, dear listeners, to the Speak and Flow podcast, where we dive into unique strategies to help you and your team achieve maximum potential and flow, even when the stakes are high. Today, I am so excited because we have a fascinating topic and something that is on everyone's mind, which is money. And how do we do this? We have the best, one of a very successful leader in this industry. She has over 35 years of experience. She's helped over 6,000 clients. Her name is Kris Miller. She is a legacy wealth strategist and CEO speaker. Hi, Kris. Welcome.
Hey, Melinda. Thanks so much for having me.
I am excited to dive in, and I'm curious before we get into all the strategies that you can share, strategies that are for the top 1%. Tell us, could you tell us how you even got into this whole topic with money?
I sure will. And the beautiful thing is, my goal is to share the secrets of the 1% to the 99. So we're
Yes.
all blessed, right?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I started out as a paralegal and I was working with an attorney at a senior center, right? And this little widow comes in, she needed a living trust. 1992, okay? And the attorney wanted to charge her $5,000.
Mhm.
All she had was a car and a house and no money. She left the room. She needed a living trust. She left the room, and I had said to the attorney, "Could you give her a deal?" And he looked at me cold as ice and said, "No." And that was so energetic to me. It pushed me out of there. I left. It was it. Goodbye. And that was what started my business, to be able to make living trust affordable and easy for the average person to get them, because we all need them. Otherwise, everything you have goes into the courts. But it's not just the end of the life document, because as I realized, I took a, this is like, 35 years ago, I took a $5,000 living trust and I gave it away for $199. It broke the market. I give glory to God. So I'm not like, oh, aren't I wonderful? But what happened was that there was back then, paralegals were like, hey, wait a minute. We're doing all the work. They're getting all the money. So they started to revolt in California, of course, and became independent paralegals and started doing, bankruptcies and divorces and living trusts, not under the supervision of attorneys, which they didn't need at the time. So the state bar came after and they created a designation called LDA because they wanted their CE credits and there are more fees for licenses. So they made a designation. I have a picture ID with the state bar to do what we do, which is an independent document preparation service. So we have literally prepared over 6,100 and something, because we stopped counting, living trusts. And thank God, never had a problem. Then something started happening around year 25. You know, thousands of people are coming to my office, and I just saw the pattern. As I said, it wasn't that I'm so brilliant. It was like there was a pattern. What is going on here? People are coming in and they're starting their retirement plan at 50, 60, 70. Like, what? And then, oh, you go to school, you learn how to make money, you get out of school, and what do? You go make money and give it to some guy that gambles it. And
Mhm.
then when you get in your third and fourth quarter life, it's a roulette wheel. That's the only thing that people know is the stock market, up and down. And they're living in this fear. Will I outlive my money? Which is going to be very highly likely because we're all living longer now, too. And you got to plan for 120, literally, seriously. So that was like, that just shocked me. And then I decided, that I I did not want to gamble myself, and I sure did not want to say, "Hey, Melinda, you need this stock," but I don't want it. I couldn't do that. Two-faced kind of planning. I own what I sell, period. It works. I've done it for 3 decades. And I've never lost one dime. And that is the uniqueness about what I do. The 6,000 people and those that did the money part with me have never lost one dime in any market risk. So I'm leaning on what's called safe money. never losing a dime in the stock market. The younger folks, you guys can get tax-free income for life.
Mhm.
And it's just crazy amazing.
Wow. And so you teach people how to invest their money on their own with the stocks.
I am not in the stock market.
Uh-huh.
I teach people how to set up their money and catch the growth of the money in the market, in the indexes without risk. So I lean on index universal life,
Mm-hmm.
whole life, bank on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Products that are having a tax-free chassis, like it's a hybrid life insurance
Mm-hmm.
that where you blow the death benefit up
Mm-hmm.
and you can live on it. And the money that comes out of there is tax free. For an
Mm-hmm.
example, I had a client, he was 38. He only put $500 in a month. And when he retired, he was set to get 80 to 100,000 tax free for life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a one size fits all. I'm not selling products. I'm
Uh-huh.
selling, showing people
Yeah.
how to set themselves up. I work with other companies that do stock market,
Mm-hmm.
but I do not. I'm
Got
in the
it.
safe money. So that's how I can say I've never lost a dime.
Got it. Interesting. And
It's unique because it's not common knowledge. Like if you turn talking about communication, you turn your cable TV on, the only commercials you'll see is big pharma and big money. You won't see, and big money is about being in stocks, being in the market. That's all people know. They don't know that there are other alternative investments, many more than I can probably elaborate in the show, where you can put your money and never lose your principal.
so I have a financial advisor. Can my financial advisor move all of my
Your
portfolio there?
your financial advisor has to have a certain kind of license to do what I do. See, I don't have a Series 6. I don't gamble in the stock market. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's not a one, like I say, everybody's different. So when I do financial fitness strategies, I look at your age, your health, if you have kids, what your goals are, and then we determine what is useful for you. Most financial planners don't like me. Why? Because we're going to roll money out of risk, and that's where they make money. And that was the decision I made. I could have done that. I could have been that kind of a planner. I
Mhm.
make money holding your money. I make money moving your money. I make money even when I don't do anything.
Mhm.
That's they make a lot of money. There are a lot of fees that are inside of there that
Mhm.
when you figure it out, you're not really making what you think you're making,
Mhm.
and some of those things you get taxed on.
Mhm.
And what I show people is how to lower their taxes. So what if I come along and say, you could take a little piece of this and roll it into there, they will particularly like me unless they have that same kind of license. So, you
Mhm.
know, I can show you. And then if you go take it to them, they might not like it because you're going to take their income from
Mhm.
them too. So
Right.
that's honest. That's
Right.
honest.
Right.
Unless they have many licenses, then they just take all my information and make the money off of it, right?
Right. Right.
But
Right.
but they're in a different kind of a planning. And that's what I chose. Melinda, I chose to make less money and have integrity and own what I sell instead of like, you know, throw darts at stocks in volatility instead of insurances, which are like lower and slower. But you'd be surprised, like they have what's called equity index annuities.
Mhm.
Their accumulations are 8 to 14 or 15%
Mhm.
tax deferred.
Mm.
Seriously. And you could set those up as income for life. So
Mm.
when I first learned about it, what got me was not one person lost $1 in an annuity in the Great Depression. And
Mhm.
it's like that got my ear because I really feel like we're in really volatile times. I
Right.
mean, it's been talked about for in, prophecy for many, many, decades, centuries, whatever, right? It's not brand new conversation. And that
Right.
has always been on my mind. I don't want to be working this hard and then look over like 2008 and lose 20. 40, 60%, like I know a lot of people did, and have clients or people that want to be clients come in crying about losing their pension. In my generation, boomer generations are going, oh, that's great. In 2008, they lost 40% of their IRA, or their 401k. And a lot of them are working at 70 and 80,
Mhm.
90, right? My daddy worked till he was 91.
Right. What is a conversation that I need to ask myself? For example, what are the questions that I would ask myself if
Well,
this is
there's
the right?
three things that you really want to make sure is to set yourself up, and especially being younger, that you're planning for a third and fourth quarter. And there's a weird thing with age. Okay, we talked about this earlier before we got on. Well, like when you're 20 and 30, it's hard to imagine what it's like 40 and 50.
Yes.
Then when
Yeah.
you get to 50, let alone 60 or 70, hey, what about 80 and 90? So having that experience of all those decades,
Yeah.
each decade has a special thing that nobody is taught about. So
Right.
the things that you want to make sure that you have is you want to set yourself up for income for life, tax free. Why? Well, you're not going to always be working. You want to set yourself up for life without work, or your give back period. I encourage people, midlife, to take what they've done, like I did with my business, and repurpose it as, how can I use this gift to help people, right? And then you
Mm.
get the joy of living your legacy while you're alive, instead of waiting till you cross over, right?
Right. Right. I
And
agree.
three things that I've seen in thousands of people they don't have. And I don't care if they're multimillionaires. In fact, I had one client, he had 44 million in real estate,
Mhm.
only a couple 100,000 in money, and no living trust. Right?
Wow.
Cuckoo. But it wasn't his fault. He did
Uh-huh.
good, but he wasn't taught. And so
Yeah.
there's no judgment on anybody,
Right.
whether you have or you don't have. This is schoolroom earth, right? So
Yeah.
we're on our journey. But you want to make sure, one, you have income you'll never outlive. Two, you want to make sure you have the right legal documents, the living trust. You have minor children. This is really hard for us. Like when you're, in your 30s or
Yeah.
20s, you
Yeah.
actually
Like,
do,
why are we thinking about this? Yeah.
right? And you have kids, and mom and dad got to dinner and don't come back,
Yeah.
which happens a lot these days in this
Mm.
weird world we're in. Who's going to take care of the
Yeah.
kids?
How
You
do
know,
how do we have those conversations, right? With yeah.
we make them fun. And that's why my company is called Healthy Money, Happy Life.
Uh-huh.
Not that money is going to bring you joy, because
Right.
joy comes from the heart and the love with each other, right? In the spirit, right? But the money, when it's safe, it brings happiness because you're not worrying about it.
Right.
I'm not worrying that I'm going to lose my money in the stock market, right? And so that the I show people how to shift the conversation as empowering. And
Mm.
sometimes people are like scared to talk to their partner about it, right? And but when you do, it brings you closer, because it's
Yeah.
reality. What happens if we have when, like, I'm in California, we have an earthquake or fires. I have a to-go bag. I have my 911 bag,
Yeah.
right? For emergencies. You got to do that with your money. You got to have your cash flow set up. You got to get out of debt. You got to make sure you got plenty of cash for 1 to 2 years. It shocks me when I see people like they got all their money in their business, or maybe their 401k, and no rainy day money.
Right.
Hello. Right.
Right.
And that's basic. And then you want to make sure you're protected from catastrophic illness. Now, this is really hard. I don't think I've talked about it for years, but I don't think I got hit as hard as my family. And I have to take deep breaths with it, because there's so much grief and emotion with it. But my family empowered me to share it, and that's why I'm so passionate. Because my mommy came up to me one day, and she had this paper in her hand, and I'm looking at her, and she got the tears in her eyes. I go, Mom, what? She goes, honey, share this with your clients. And I
Mm.
looked at it. It was a bill for Stanford Hospital, 2010. 5 days of chemo. That's how much it was. $90,000. She had
Oh,
5 days every month. Okay. $1 million is not a lot of money, especially if you think you're going to self insure, which a lot of people do is like, oh, I have $1 million. I can self insure. Mm-mm. My parents went through millions of dollars. In fact, my daddy says, honey, you're going to inherit $1 million. And thank God I didn't count on it. I said, Dad, I just want you. I don't, I'm not counting on your money. And, we were really close. And then a few years later, he said, honey, you might get something because they went through it all. And I'm so glad they had it because they didn't have long term care insurance because you want to stay in your home. You don't want to go to a nursing home. They're set up to, dissolve you faster.
mm,
People die faster in nursing homes, just saying. So it's
mm,
better to be in your own home with your family. And there are ways that I set people's legacies up, their living legacies up with these income streams that I'm talking about, the tax-free ones, is that you can literally use the death benefit, come out tax-free, have enough money to pay for care in your own home, and you manage it.
mm.
You hire your kids or your friends or your family to take care of you in your own home. And that's what I did for my mom and dad. Literally set them up so they could be in their own home. My mom went through 10 years of chemo. She
Wow.
she wanted to live so bad, and with lots of prayers, and she the doctor said to her, you only got a year. So don't believe your doctor. Really. I mean, she really was amazing.
Oh, go mom. Sounds like
Really.
you had amazing parents.
Very amazing. My daddy, he was a genius, and Einstein was one of his teachers at Caltech. He was born in 1919,
Oh,
and he was just a brilliant man. And we're writing his book too. And he's he what and this is the story of the family. It'll never happen to me. We all have this like everybody else is going to die but me kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
or get
yeah,
sick.
yeah.
And my dad had never been sick, but he had a bad knee and he fell off a curb, went to the hospital, broke his femur bone at 91, 92, and got pneumonia. And then the doctor came up and said, hey, your dad only has a few days. And I looked at her and I said, you are not God. And I took my dad out of that doctor's office. He went another 6 years. He had
Wow.
the will to live too. He wanted to get to 100. He had
Oh,
a
like
goal.
90. Oh,
He went to 96.5.
wow.
Yeah. But we kept him at home.
Uh-huh.
And his care, so my mom's care was $15,000 a month. Okay. No, 2010. My dad's care, I was like, he didn't have long-term care. I had to come up with, he didn't, barely had enough left after my mom. So what I did was I found CNA, FBI approved help from Tonga and Samoa, beautiful women that if he fell, they could pick him up. And that was still $70,000 a year. Thank God he had it right to the very end so we could keep him his dignity, keep him at home. I
Yeah.
flew up every month to visit him, and that worked out well. But wait, there's more. And then I had another sibling, which this is the one that's a little bit closer, and just in the last year or so was never been sick, just like my daddy. Yoga, vegetarian, right? Did swam every day. Boom, something happened. No long-term care. Now, what are you going to do if your sibling, your brother, your sister gets ill?
Mhm.
You have no, they have no money, right? You got to help them. That's where we come from. That's where I come from. So I had to kind of shut my business down, become a part-time caregiver, and figure out help for that family member.
Wow.
And that's the propulsion of why I'm so passionate, why you want to start this ahead of time. Because if you start it ahead of time, you don't pay, you don't have to pay all those horrible fees and amounts when you're older, when it's
Right.
over, right?
Right.
I know
How
that that's a gulp, right?
Well, I mean, it should be done soon. Did you say that's a goal?
I it should be done
Yeah,
yesterday. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Got
not a goal in the future.
right,
It's now money now. Right,
right,
right.
right, right. Because you just don't know what's gonna happen.
I just said gulp. Like that's a
Oh, gulp, gulp. Okay,
like
got it. That was
whoa,
a gulp.
right?
Got it.
A
Yeah,
big gulp.
yeah.
Right.
Right, right. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're so what a family network that you have, and to pick up, like you said, it could be to like we think, oh, that's not going to happen to me. And so thank you so much for sharing that story because
Yeah.
we
Yes.
think maybe it won't happen to me. But then when you said my sister and my brother, and I really think about them, and it's true, right? You just don't know because we're still young,
No.
relatively young. They're younger than I am, but you just never know.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've noticed it. Younger people all of a sudden are just falling over, right? A
Yeah.
lot of, you know, in sports or wherever. It's not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. We have to stay prepared.
So what are the steps to just begin? Because it seems overwhelming. It seems there's so much to learn in this area, and we're just barely scratching the surface. I'm busy, like a lot you mentioned earlier. Most of us don't have time to think about this. We're
Yeah.
just trying to survive. And then
Exactly.
so like how do we, because if you have, I feel like my financial advisor should be helping me with this. So how do you like think about working with a financial, I think most people have financial advisors, maybe they don't. I'm not sure. But but
Some
then
do, some don't,
some do, some don't. I think
or have and got rid of them.
and but the people that you work with primarily most likely do. They start off with
Primarily, but a lot of them have gotten dis, like what happened? You didn't even pay attention to me in 2008. Let me
yeah.
know something was going on. They just wait till the crash happens and then they come back and move you again. There isn't a
And then
big
yeah, how do we like
proactiveness, right?
yeah, how do we like work with the financial advisor? Like maybe because it would be challenging for me to like, okay, let's just move it all over. But
No, no, you don't
this-
want to move it all
yeah,
over.
yeah,
That's what I provide for people is a financial fitness strategy session. So
right.
I get on and say, as your age, your health, your wealth, your goals, do you have kids? And then I show you, I go out and research, and then we come back in a Zoom and I give you your own personal class. And I
Mm,
say, oh, this is what you would need for your age to accomplish this, to create income you'll never outlive, or protect your kids or protect your family, all of that. Then I give you the class, then
mm,
I send it to you. I give it to you. And then
mm,
you review it, and then we come back with questions and go from there. And then it makes sense because part of what I've seen so much in the planning is having thousands of people come to the office, and then I'll go, where's your IRA? Where's your 401k? And they'll go, oh, it's it. And they give a name of a big company or something. Oh, and they're so impressed by the name of this big brokerage firm, but they don't know where it is. And I go, okay, but where is it? Well, it's in an IRA. Where is it invested? They don't know and they're embarrassed. And that's not my goal. It is to empower people. I want you to know what's going on with your money so that if I wasn't around, someone will walk up and you can say, hey, I am here. This is what's going on. I'm in control. You don't have to be dependent. That's what I like to do is put people so they're in control of their own money. You're managing your money and your broker if you still work with one, right? And there's people and there's great combinations that I've worked with people that have planners that love their planner and they keep they realize they have risk and they realize they want safe money. So I show them the alternative investments that they can balance out the risk and realize you're gambling. Just realize that. And how much of that do you want to do? And so it's not like I'm competing. I'm already better by my track record. I'm not experimenting anymore. I've tried and proven it. So, and how do people learn how to do this? Here's one for you. I was a speaker in Washington, D.C. at their financial officers. I mean, these are the guys that handle the billions and trillions of dollars, kind of, really intense kind of group of people. And I'm giving one of my create income you'll never outlive seminar
Uh-huh.
workshops.
Uh-huh.
And at the end, I go, how many of you are ready for retirement? And I say pre-retirement, plan retirement early from my book. And it was crickets. And I looked around, it was like 2% of people raised their hand.
Mhm.
And the director standing right there, big old, he was bigger than me, big old guy. And I looked at him and I thought I was cute, right? Giving this joke, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Government sense. Like I said, well, you're the government. You're supposed to have all that together. And he looked at me like, really tough.
Uh-huh.
We're busy taking care of other people's money.
Uh-huh.
Boom. That's us. We're busy living our life. Just like you said, we're busy doing our business. We're raising our kids, blah, 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 right? That's everything right there. And so he suggested something I thought that was very cool. It's called Take a Retirement Planning Holiday. What meaning? Take time out of your life, even
Yeah.
if it's just an hour on Sunday, or even if it's you're doing your dishes, turn on the YouTube, watch some of my videos. I
Mm.
actually saw the need of this so much that I created a program, an online program called Create Income You'll Never Outlive. So
Mm.
I've got like 50 videos, 1 minute videos, 3 minute videos. What's an annuity? What's an IUL? What's whole life? What's this? What's that? What's a trust? What's a power of attorney? And boom, boom, boom. And you can catch up. And that gives you the brain cells to understand the money conversation, to make the right decisions for your unique family.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I love that. Yeah, no, that's so true. Because then we feel empowered. Then, like you said, we could make decisions because
Right.
it can be so confusing. They're throwing all these terms at, and then it's like, what do we do?
Yes.
And then there's a lot of moving parts, especially if even if something we were to do was right before, and
Right.
then now in today's world and economy, it might not be the same. It might not be we need to adjust.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
Exactly. Like the big, beautiful bill that they just passed, that all the different changes and things with taxes and all the different plannings are changing different. And it's constantly doing that. These guys are up in the middle of the night changing things,
Well,
right?
you
As far
are
as
right.
laws go. But the things that I talk about are really basic, that
Right, right.
they're like the core of really won't matter what president is
And
there.
yeah, no matter what economy.
Right.
Yeah, got it. So I love that, Kris. Thank you. I just love your passion and your heart in this too. I can really, sense that you care about your clients
I
uh,
do.
and because you have had a story and your whole family,
Yeah.
it has been impacted by this. And so thank you so much before we
Yes.
end, if this conversation was magnificent and there's so many nuggets in there, but if there is nothing else that they took away, what is the one key golden takeaway that you want the clients or the audience to remember?
Well, the golden takeaway that it helps me get through, day after day, right? When it's so important and I do it all the time is gratitude. And
Mm.
I literally, I force myself to because sometimes it gets rough, right? To keep up, to keep light, to keep in the spirit, right? Is that I just thank God for 5 things I'm grateful for before I get out of bed. Even if I'm having a hard time, I got a bed, I got food, I got life, I got breath, my body works, right? And I have a
Beautiful.
beautiful family, and then you go on, right?
Well,
And then
you
it
just upped the game for me because I do 3 and I thought 3 was a lot. You just said 5.
in the morning and the night. So
Wow.
before I go to bed, I try to think of like, oh, I'm so thankful to meet Melinda and be able to talk in a flow with her
Uh-huh.
and right. And that'll be one of my gratitudes.
Thank you. Me
And it
too.
really
Yeah.
helps for sure.
Yes, it really does. Well, thank you so much. 5 gratitudes a day. And even with money too, like what I think that brings in some flow with money and opening up our receiving the money and also generosity with money because we're so grateful for things versus
Yes.
being in
Yes.
that like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. In the morning and the night.
Right. Then
Okay.
okay, Kris. You just challenged me to
I
that.
am.
So
I
I will
am.
do that. And so if there's somebody out there that I know that we're all like trying our best to do, our due diligence with our money. And if they need additional support beyond this, like what is the best way to get in contact with you to get that free strategy? Or
Well, thank you. Thank you. Several ways. One, you could just call my office at 951-926-4158. You can also hop on my calendar at meetwithkrismiller.com. That's Kris with a K, and put this podcast in there to refer to that. And you can send me an email at Kris, Kris, at healthymoneyhappylife.com.
Love it. Healthy money, happy life. Go ahead.
Oh, one more. And if you're interested in the online program, you can go to the website called Start Create Income Now. And that'll get you in the queue to talk to me about that too.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kris, for your generosity, your gratitude, your positive spirit, and your expertise today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Thank you. And thank you, audience, for being here. And I trust that you got your golden takeaway. And if not, reach out to Kris, get some additional help and support. And until I see you next time, I'm your sister in flow. May prosperity flow to you and through you always. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks for joining the conversation today. Are you curious on how you measure up with your ability to speak in flow? Come grab my free self-assessment at https://speakinflow.com/assessment. And I'll see you on the other side.